All right, boys and girls, welcome to Jets Talk. My name is Ryan. I'll be your pilot tonight. I am going to be joined with my co-pilot, Mr. Dom C, in just a little bit. He's just getting home, so he will hop on momentarily. Before I do, just want to say a big thank you to the sponsor, Sleeper. Upcoming games, boys and girls, you want to get a $100 deposit match, up to $100 on your first deposit. Use promo code JetsTalk, link in the description down below. I'm going with the Colts, going a little bit of hate watching, going low on the Daniel Jones passing yards, but I do have their kicker making 2.5 extra points. Same with Harrison Butker as well. I think it's going to be a little more action than we've seen recently. So I'm going to go on the over. And then Taylor taking 16.5 yards on the reception is going to go on the over for that as well. But we are going to be hoping for a Chiefs win. Knock these Colts back down into place. Help out our draft pick for next year. Thank you so much for sponsoring the channel, Sleeper. We've got so much to talk about. Before I finish that, I should probably finished the promo. You think you know football? Then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live, pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money if your picks win. Use promo code JetsTalk and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Chat, I want to hear from you guys while we are hanging out here waiting for Dom. Let's see. Get these comments thrown up here. Helva, what's up, brother? Says, y'all thinking Ty Simpson is the play? I think it depends who they love. And if the Titans get the first overall pick, I would be totally open to trading up for whoever that player is. I would say, I've been saying my threshold in my head for trade is 2 firsts this year and a second next year. But that could change depending on what pick we have and whatnot. Carl says, looks like wasted money signing Fields. I thought he would make a difference. I think the best part about signing Fields is probably, if there was any impact on Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner signing here long term, then the $20 million we're burning this year on Justin Fields and the $10 million next year in guaranteed money that he has is well worth it because of the first round picks we got. Now, from strictly a financial standpoint, the contract, the what we've gotten from play-wise out of Fields, we have not gotten our return on investment. It has not been good. But I will pay $20 million of our salary cap in a lost year to get some good players locked in and some draft picks in a trade. So that's where my thoughts are on that. I did want to go with Fields. I thought this would be a soft tank type of move, where you give the illusion of potentially trying. There's the long shot of him maybe working out. And look, more likely than not is I think the Jets felt very similar to how I felt. And it's all right. This is bad, man. This could lead to winning. This is bad, man. This could lead to winning. Oh, talking about the switch to Tyrod Taylor. It could. I think Tyrod's probably going to get hurt, and we're going to wind up seeing Fields back in there again anyway. But I'm all right with winning a little bit. I don't think we're winning versus Baltimore. I think we're going to have an opportunity in some other games coming up here, particularly the Saints, the Jaguars, which they just took it to town, took the Chargers to town. So I don't know if we should really be competing in that one. The Dolphins, I think we're going to have an opportunity to win. And I think Atlanta, now that Kirk Cousins is starting again, it kind of leaves that up in the air. Although Penix wasn't really playing well anyway. So we'll see. Kenna says, do you think we could trade for a guy like Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert with our draft capital and take a chance on Kyler Murray or Trevor Lawrence? I would say no to Kyler Murray. I would be open to Trevor Lawrence. I believe Burrow, Herbert, and Lawrence all have no trade clauses. Dom could kind of confirm that later on, but I'm pretty sure they're all no trade clauses. So they'd have to accept a trade here, which I think would be a hurdle for us. Abel says, should have kept Rodgers if this was going to be the case. Nah, I think it was the right time to move off Rodgers. I think he would still be the best quarterback option we could have had, But I think the correct move was to try and reset a little bit of the culture, start moving some pieces away. Like you wouldn't have necessarily been able to trade Sauce and all these other moves that wound up happening. So I think moving off Rodgers was the good move here. Freedom House, play your best, change the loser mindset. Yeah, I want to see some wins, or at least some competitive losses. Like how we sort of played against New England, I felt like the effort was there. I felt like it was clearly the quarterback. Like if we can lose games, I want it to clearly be on a lack of skill at the quarterback position. And, maybe some flaws in maybe not having Garrett Wilson, the receivers being like sort of not fully up to snuff. So that's my thoughts. Abel likes trading for Burrow or Herbert. Sure, I think a lot of us do. Yeah, I'm tired of drafting quarterbacks. Might as well trade for a proven one. I like trading for a proven vet. It's just how much are you willing to give up? The player that I've discussed a little bit with some people is C.J. Stroud, if he becomes available. Obviously has the connection to Garrett Wilson, and I would be totally fine on going that direction instead of drafting a quarterback. But it just depends on what that compensation is, and if we're in position to draft a guy. Like if we wind up sitting at pick 3 or 5 or whatever, and Ty Simpson or Mendoza winds up falling to us, then make the selection and don't even worry about it. Rich Rise, JETS. What's up, brother? Daniel Berry, happy Monday. Hello. Watching a little bit of the Dallas Raiders game, hoping the Raiders can win. Obviously, we want them to get knocked down the draft rankings a little bit. They could be in on a quarterback this year in the draft. Dallas gave up their first-round pick next year and their second-round pick this year, so we want that second-round pick to get as high as possible. So having the Raiders win is a double good thing for the New York Jets. And then we'll just kind of keep an eye on them moving on throughout the night. Quinnen's first start with the Cowboys tonight. I didn't realize that, so I will have to keep an eye on this. But obviously, I did know about the draft pick stuff. Rich, Ryan, more importantly, we are rooting for the Vegas win tonight. Yeah, we absolutely are. Oh, Crosby gets the swat. Ah! They calling it a fumble? Let's give it a fumble. Yeah. Vegas ball, baby, in the red zone. I'm manifesting a top 3 draft pick. You're damn right, Rich. I'm there with you. How much does the membership for this channel? Membership for the channel, I think it's as low as $2. I'd have to look. I'm not too sure. I think I have a 2, a 5, and a 10. You get the emojis either way with anything you do. It's always greatly appreciated. So whatever you feel comfortable with, you're more than welcome to assist in the Jets Talk 24/7 membership tier. Always watching, but not sure how to do it. There should be a blue button down below the live stream that says join. If not, you can try my channel homepage. It might have a little join button there. I appreciate it. Blitzcrew's been a member for a long time. He's got the little blue jet. I actually have to create another jet of a different color so that way we can, I think it goes longer than 2 years too. Blitzcrew's definitely been here longer than 2 years with us. Fields is a great football player, but not the best quarterback. Wonder if he can play wide receiver. I don't think we're going to be seeing wide receiver from our good Fields. All right, I've got my co-host here joining the show. Let me go over to the one, the only Mr. Dom C. Dom, how you doing tonight?
I am late, and I'm sorry about it, but kids' sports activities ran later than expected, parent meetings, all that stuff, so I apologize, buddy.
That is all right. I enjoyed talking to all the people out in the chat. But Dom,
how we doing, chat? How we doing?
What's up, chat? Let's get a little bit into, I guess, this past week. Anything you want to say about the Patriot game? Obviously, the Jets making the move at quarterback. That's the big news. Justin Fields no longer the starter. Going to be Tyrod Taylor for this next game and seemingly moving forward as long as he doesn't get hurt. What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, I'll start with the latter. I'll start with the Tyrod news. Now, I find it interesting. Like, I listen, I think to me the writing was on the wall when they asked him after the Patriots game. The beat asked him during his press conference, and he said, I don't know. We got a process. We're going to go through the process. We're not ready to make any decisions yet. Once he said that, I knew he was a goner. I knew that Fields was not going to come back. Now, the interesting thing I think about it, Ryan, is that Aaron Glenn has been so hush-hush about everything so far, right? Why did this get out so early, and why did it not come? Like, what's her face from The Athletic, Rossini, got a hold of it and ran with it. Like, that's got to piss off Glenn, right?
I wonder if he would just, like, pull this rug out from under him and be like, "Oh yeah, no, we're going to
Just kidding.
going
See,
to cook."
Rasheen is stupid.
Like, "Oh, I can't believe you fell for that." Like that type of a move. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird to get it this early in the week.
It's definitely
I think it's the right move.
I think it's the right move as well, but it's definitely a little bit weird, not gonna lie, to considering the past transgressions of how he operates. How Glenn operates and wants to do it in stealth and this and that and the other thing. So yeah, but why is this volume screwed up? Hang on 1 second.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, the Patriots game was the Patriots game, man. It's hard to win when you have an offense that looks like that.
Yeah, not very good. I don't really have too much to say other than, I thought A.D. Mitchell got open a lot. He's got to catch the ball. Thought Mechie had some moments. Like, there was definitely some nice things that you could pull from it. In my opinion, and I was just saying this before you hopped on, was I want to be super competitive in as many games as possible. And I want us, if we are going to lose, I want us to lose clearly because the quarterback was the issue, wide receiver 2 was the issue, or like maybe the middle part of the defense that we're hoping to fix up a little bit is part of the issue. Like, that would be the ideal sort of situation for me. If I could see the offensive line looking good, I want to see Breece play well. I'd love to see some of the wide receivers, maybe start to catch on. Like, feel good that you might have wide receiver 3 and 4 on the roster, that type of a thing.
Yeah, listen, the drop thing was never an A.D. Mitchell problem in college. I mean, his senior year, I think we talked about it in the group chat. Like, I went back and looked through the draft guide from 2 years ago when he was drafted, and he had like a under a 3% drop rate through all of college. Yeah, listen, it's tough. Listen, one of them was definitely on him. One of them.
Are you
was,
talking about the over the shoulder one?
That
was a tough catch. If he could, he should have made it.
It's a tough catch, but he should have made that. And I wouldn't even say that. I think the one that, the one that went right through his hand, that short little rocket on that slant that went right through his hand, that's on him. I think the one on that little,
twist,
that flare, that rail route that he was been wide open. If he's led on that, that's a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know I think that one's probably more on Fields, and the one that's over his shoulder where he, kind of did the little hitch and go. Yeah, I mean, he put his hands on it. You could say he's got to catch that. Is it dropped in the bucket? Maybe. If he's led a little bit more, is it easier? I don't know. Like, it's a tough catch. So I'll take my chances that will come around. And listen, maybe it doesn't. And you still didn't expend it. You haven't expended anything. You have 2 years of control on a second round contract for a guy that's going to be making just barely over $1 million for the next couple of years. Let's see what you got. At least it's one more draft pick that you don't have to prioritize. Like, it's a body. If nothing more, it's a body. Like, you still need another true running mate for Garrett Wilson. Hopefully that's A.D. Mitchell. And if not, like, maybe he's a good third piece. And then you have A.D. Mitchell and Arian Smith, who are just burners, man. They're just, speed demons on the field.
A lot of heat that can come.
A lot of heat, baby.
Top.
A lot of heat.
Definitely like that. Love seeing the offensive line play well. I thought Drake May just looks like a stud. Like that. Like, my takeaway from that game was like, great. We're gonna have him and Allen in the division for the next decade. Not loving that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't. There's things that you can control and things that you can't, and that's something that we can't. So all we got to do is worry about ourselves and our own quarterback, not let alone fucking New England's.
This is true. Speaking of what could help us and what could hurt us, we want the Raiders to win tonight. They're currently winning 3-0 against the Cowboys. Quinnen Williams makes his debut tonight, and the Jets have the second round pick of the Cowboys, obviously. So this is a little double whammy game for the New York Jets in a good way, potentially, if the Raiders can pull off the upset.
Yeah, man. I haven't turned it on yet. I'll turn it on after our stream and kind of watch a little bit. Like I said, I've been running around since I left work at 5:00 today, like a chicken with no head. So
chaos.
Yes, sir.
So Jets are currently, let's see if I have this pulled up. I think I do. We always talk draft here, right? Jets currently sitting in that 5 slot, behind Cleveland, behind New Orleans. Obviously, the Giants have one extra win or one extra loss, sorry, than the New York Jets because they didn't have their bye week. I believe their bye week's this week. Is that correct?
Oh no. I can find out. What week is this coming up? 12?
This is 12, yes.
NFL bye week 12. Let's see, buddy. It is. No, it is not. It's Denver, the Chargers, Miami, and the Commanders.
So when do they have a bye? Damn, that's crazy. All right.
All right,
Well, the
let's
Giants.
see, 13.
So if the Jets and the Giants wind up with the same amount of losses currently, the Jets would leapfrog them. The Giants would fall back behind. Let's see. Giants are 540. Jets are at 523. So yeah, the Jets would move up to 4. Giants would fall down to 5. That means Tennessee, Cleveland, and New Orleans are still sitting in front of the Jets. Jets have the matchup with the Saints later this year. I think, honestly, our best bet is the Titans sitting at number 1. Like, I'd rather them stay there than have Cleveland or New Orleans end up in that slot because I think it's less likely they trade out. What's your thoughts now where the Jets are currently sitting, maybe with the influx of Tyrod Taylor? What are your thoughts on how this could play out over the next little bit here?
I still think, what is the record there of Dallas at 12? Is it right there? It's 3-5-1, right?
Yeah, yep. I'll try to.
Okay, and above that, at Miami's 4-7.
Yeah, I'll play with this.
That's
a little
fine.
bit and we'll get a
my initial thoughts are there's too many dog shit teams here in the top 10. Like all these teams are not going to finish 1-9, 2-8, 3 with 1, 2, or 3 wins. Like teams are going to fall into wins. Unfortunately, guys, probably the Jets as well. There's a fair chance that you can win. There's a honest to God fair chance that you can win the Miami game because I don't think Miami is a good team. There's a fair chance that I think you can win the New Orleans game. I don't think New Orleans is a good team. Now without Penix and the receiver Drake London, there's a fair chance that you can compete with Atlanta as well. Who would be number 8 in this, but they have already traded their first round draft pick.
Which is concerning for the Rams. Like the Rams jumping up and trying to get their successor to Stafford is a concern too, especially if Arizona wants to make a move Kyler sitting at 10 right now. Like there's some teams at the top, I would say picks 6 through 10 that could cause some concern.
Yeah. So I had this discussion today with some people in a Twitter space, I believe I was talking. So, the idea of what's the better option? Is the better option to secure your quarterback now or roll the dice until 2027, right? Now, I happen to be, I don't know where you stand on it, and some people still say it's too early, but, I've done about 19. I think you have access to my draft guide. Maybe you saw it, maybe you haven't. I think I have 19 deep dive quarterbacks ranked, or I've done 19 deep dives. I have 19 quarterbacks ranked. I'm comfortable with saying right now Mendoza is my number 1. And I have a better grade on Mendoza than I did on Shedeur Sanders, who was my number 1 last year. I have a better grade on Ty Simpson, who's my number 2, than Shedeur Sanders last year. So to me, this class is better than last year's right off the cuff. I don't know how it would match up against next year's. If you wait until 2027, there's a dozen or 13 or 15 quarterbacks that really whose names are going to be played. Now, some of them may stay, just like some of them stayed this year. They're going to stay this year. You know what I mean? But the names that you talk about next year in Arch Manning, in Darian Mensah from Duke, in maybe Dante Moore from Oregon, and Dominic Raiola, in CJ Carr from Notre Dame, and the kid Sayin from Ohio State. I mean, that's just 6 right off the top of the bat that will probably be first round picks. Now will they all come out? Probably not. Some of them are going to have to. So the question is, if we're sitting at 5 or 6, because I think we're going to end up with 4 wins. I think you're going to fall into 2 more wins somewhere along the line.
Okay.
So if you're sitting in that 5, 6, 7 range, do you use some of your capital that you have acquired from trading Sauce and Quinnen to go up and secure your guy now? Or do you just build around and let the cards fall and see what happens for next year? It's a tough decision, It's a tough decision. Cleveland's going to be in the market for a quarterback. They have 2 picks. I don't know if they'll use the first one on a quarterback or not. New Orleans is questionable. Do they really like Tyler Shuck? Maybe they do. Maybe they're not in the market. The Raiders are going to be in the market for a quarterback. You talked about the Rams going to be in the market for a quarterback, right? And they're going to have Atlanta's pick, so that one could come into play. So do you want to give up a first and 2 seconds to move up to 2 to get your quarterback? Is it worth it? Is your number 1 worth it that much, or would you rather just build up around and see how the cards fall next year? Get another bridge guy in here and see how the cards fall next year.
So I guess my thought process is it just depends on what the cost to move up to number 1 is. I agree with your rankings. I think Mendoza's 1, Simpson's 2 for me. I would trade up for Mendoza. I don't think I would trade up for Simpson. I think the lack of starts is the little bit of the concern for me. If he falls to our pick, I'm more than happy with taking him. I do think that I think there's some value in looking towards next draft and seeing who could potentially come out. But at the same time, is this draft, would I rather have more picks in next year's draft when it's seemingly going to be a very, very good draft, not just for quarterbacks, but in general for talent? And to that end, if we're going to be a pretty bad team for next year, we're going to have a pretty high pick. And if there's a lot of quarterbacks coming out and we already have ours, other teams are going to have to make their moves for quarterback, which pushes better talent down to us. I think that's something to think about. Again, it's just a matter of how much you love Mendoza. And after that, are you willing to sit pat and see who's there? Because there's a good chance you may not get your quarterback. I think you probably have to sign a quarterback in free agency and feel confident that he's at least going to be your stopgap, whether that's Kirk Cousins, whether that's, I saw someone mention Will Levis. I'm not like a big Will Levis guy, but I could understand, having him for 1 year. He's probably a soft tank kind of year again in that capacity.
So let me ask you this, right? I just pulled up the old value chart here.
Okay.
So this is projected. Projected that the Jets will end up with the 4th pick. I don't think they'll end up with the 4th. I think they're gonna be later than that. But I digress. I'll play along here at the 4th pick. Right. The 4th pick is worth 1,800 points, and the 30th pick, which the Jets also own from Indianapolis, is worth 620 points. So that's 2,400 points. Would you take those 2? And it'll probably cost you the Dallas 2nd rounder. So you're talking 4, 30, and 44 to move up to secure your quarterback. And by a point value system, that's what you're talking about. Sure. That might not even get you up to number 1. But that will get you up to number 2 for sure.
I would say I probably wouldn't want to give up the early 2nd round pick this year. I mean, you could convince me on it because obviously we'd have our full-ish draft class. We wouldn't have a 3rd round pick. We got the 2 seconds this year. My preference would be to give up both first this year and see if you could swing. I would even give up the highest of whichever 2 we have next year. That would be, I don't want to say it's the highest I'd go, but I'd have to really love.
We don't have we don't have multiple 2s next year.
Oh, sorry. We have 1, 2. We have multiple 2s this year. Yes.
Correct.
I would give up our 2 next year plus both first this year. That's kind of where I've drawn the line in my head. And I don't know. I guess maybe I could get talked into it if we're like, oh my God, Mendoza's like absolutely the guy.
Yeah, and that's the question. I see Phil in the chat here. I don't know who Phil is, but he's not a fan of Mendoza, and that's fine. I've heard that sentiment also, that he's not really that good. I don't necessarily agree. I don't know, and I think this is a fair assessment. I don't know if he's got the like a Joe Burrow-esque ceiling. I don't know if he's got that, but I also don't think he's got a Zach Wilson-esque floor. So at what point, knowing our quarterback situation, at what point are you willing to settle with a guy who's, a really good, turns out to be a really good player? Might not be a Might not be like a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson franchise altering player, but a really, really good contributor for the next whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I keep saying the comparison is similar to like, Jared Goff. If you could tell me I could get Jared Goff's production over his career for 2 firsts and a second, I would say yeah, because I think you can get to a Super Bowl with that. I don't think it's necessarily, I think the Lions should have been able to get to that point. I think their defense definitely hurt them the last bit of last season. So yeah, I'd be fine with Mendoza. I understand the rationale either way. If we weren't to draft a quarterback, is there a particular route you'd want to go? Like, is there someone you're sort of like keeping an eye on, or?
Well, I mean, I think everyone's keeping an eye on Orville Reese. I don't think he would be there for the Jets at 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I
meant more so like the quarterback position. If we were
the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Oh no, not Kyler Murray. Not Kyler Murray.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean, listen. You know who the one veteran-esque guy I would kick the tires on, just because it's a little bit unknown and you might be able to fall into something. Tanner McKee.
Oh, I'd love that one. That would be
from Philadelphia. Yeah,
dude. I would.
You know what?
Would you give Fields' contract and toss him like a mid-round?
Would you give up Dallas?
McKee?
Would you give up Dallas's second-round pick for Tanner McKee?
Damn.
And some.
I didn't think he'd be
else,
worth that much. Shit.
What do you think it's going to be worth?
I don't know. I didn't think it was going to be that. God, probably not for McKee. I mean, I like him. I don't know if I would give up a second for him. I was thinking mid-round pick and, I'll eat the contract. You could have our backup quarterback that could be Justin Fields, like running game light. I don't know. Would you give up a second-round pick for him?
You listen, if I thought that I would if I thought that he had a chance to be my next quarterback, not just a 1-year bridge or just holding the like a placeholder.
So let's say this: if we go into the draft and the guys we want in the second round aren't there, and we've now drafted, top playmaker in the first, top playmaker at the end of the first, top playmaker at the top of the second, yeah, I would say it would be more appealing to me. But I agree. I think it would have to be something like, oh, this could be the guy. And then if he's not, then I think you could still justify making a pick of a quarterback in 27.
Or listen, or like you said, like I think I would do it. I actually think I would do it. Come to think about it a little bit more. I know people wouldn't probably like it. Some people would go crazy, but I think it's a safe play considering that you're probably going to be spending $57 million on 2 quarterbacks that are playing elsewhere next year. Tanner McKee contract is not going to be expensive. As a matter of fact, Ryan, let's see what the Tanner McKee contract will look like.
Pull it up right now.
I got it.
Boom.
Okay, you got it. Boom.
See, you could go through Spot Track if you want. I know they have some different.
I prefer Spot Track.
So his it would be $1 million each of the next 2 years. 1 million and then 1.1 million.
So that's a perfect to me.
Actually, sorry, it's a 1-year contract. 2026 is the final year of his deal. So you'd have to franchise tag him after that.
Oof.
Yeah, that's a little tough.
At 25,
could you sign him to an extension? Like, is it like, hey, we'll give you like an incentive?
Yeah, we'll trade. We'll give you the second, but I want him on a 3-year extension. Yeah. And that gives you a lot more leeway to feel comfortable where you can sit now and build, for 27. Or if you want to take a stab on a guy, hey, maybe, and I'm throwing out a name, just the top of my head. Maybe you like Drew Aller and you want to spend, a 4th or 5th round pick on Drew Aller and kind of just let him develop. And there, your room for at least 2026 is Tanner McKee, maybe veteran, maybe another veteran backup type quarterback signed, and Drew Aller.
I would like that. That would be a fine quarterback room for me.
You can assess what happens with Tyler McKee and Drew Aller as you go into 27. Maybe one of them decide. Maybe they're both outstanding, and then you have a lot of leeway. You can do, depending on where you're picking, with 3
Mhm.
first-round picks in 27. Like, you really like these 8 picks over the next 2 years.
Mhm.
You have an opportunity to really reset the franchise. You know,
Mhm.
I was looking at it today. Somebody posted on Twitter the Jets' first-round picks since like 1996.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking to myself, man, like even the most recent ones, like already, like these guys aren't going to be on the team much longer. You know what I mean?
You're just
Like
thinking about like Membu and
Sauce is
Fashanu.
2022. Sauce is 2022. He's gone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, all right, Garrett's here long term. We don't know what's going to happen with JJ next year. You know,
Mhm.
you hope that you got one more year of him. You don't
Yeah.
know what's going to happen with Will McDonald in 2 years, right?
Mhm.
Like, there's a possibility. I wouldn't say it's like I'm wishing it, but there's an honest possibility that both of those guys don't get second contracts.
Sure.
And you just follow from like the late 90s down, like nobody got second contracts. Some of these guys were just god awful, you know? And then you look at like a team like the Rams
Mhm.
and, like the Lions. You look at the Lions. Go look at the Lions since the GM Holmes has taken over. Look at his first round. Look at his first and second round picks.
Mhm.
They are. I'm going to try to see if I can pull it up here. I'll read it to you. I was looking at it the other day and I was
It's got to
absolutely
be
floored.
Jameson Williams,
Jameson
Branch.
Williams, Penei Sewell, Branch, Jack Campbell,
Studs.
the running back,
Oh, Gibbs.
the tight end. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
all fucking studs. It's all their team foundation was built over the past 3 some odd years in the first and the second round. You know, the Aleem McNeil, the defensive lineman. It's absolutely crazy. The Jets have the opportunity to do that. You just gotta hit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Just got to actually like secure the correct player. Got to get. I mean, how many? I like where we've started so far. Like I like Mason Taylor. I like Membu. Like we're trending in the right direction there. We both liked AZ Thomas. I like the moves they made in season for Briggs. I like Phillips. I like Brownlee. I think there's some opportunities to. I have some degree of confidence. It's not like a panic of, oh no, I don't trust them to make the decision. Cameron comes in with a super chat. Thank you so much. He goes, Mendoza seems like the kind of quarterback we could build around using all the ammunition we got by trading Sauce and Williams, but we need to keep losing. Also, Ryan, are we calling in? Yeah, we could do some call-ins after this. I got Dom with me till right around 9 o'clock, and then I'll talk to the chat. You can call in. We'll talk a little ball. Yeah, I like Mendoza. I like going up for the quarterback. I think he's absolutely worthy of the number 1 overall pick, if that's where you can get to. In my mind, if you can wind up with like a top 3 pick, then I would almost be all right calling the bluff on Tennessee and seeing if they would trade back beyond our pick to like, a different position, because then you're either getting one of the top 2 quarterbacks or Arvell Reese.
Yeah, I don't listen. The Jets are a bad football team. They are. Tennessee might be worse right now.
I think Tennessee's definitely worse. Just Tennessee's.
And I'm not talking about just the record. I'm just talking about 1-53. Like it's just a bad team. You know. At least we have some bright spots. You know.
Oh yeah.
We got two nice young tackles. We have two good young tackles and a dog of a wide receiver. You know, if nothing more. They don't even have that. You know, they got the quarterback, the number 1 overall pick from last year, who was everyone's darling, who hasn't been playing very well. Let's call it like it is. He just hasn't been playing it very well. So
Lou comes in. Lou says, is there any way we could end up with 2 of these players in the draft, Mendoza or Ty, wide receiver Tate Lemon, Tyson Arvell, or Bain?
Yeah. So
and can you lay out the path?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be drafted Mendoza or Ty up high, and then one of the receivers, falling lower.
Well, the problem is that these guys right here, Lou, take the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are going to be up high, and then Tate, Lemon, Jordan Tyson, and Arvell or Bain, they're probably all top 10 picks.
You think Lemon's going to be a top 10 pick?
Yeah,
right
I
now.
do. Right, or if not in the top 10, right there. Okay. I think that there's 4 for me at least right now. There's a solid 4 first round draftable wide receivers and Lemon's right up in there. He's really good. The separation skills are legit.
What do you think of Nick Harbor from South Carolina?
I think he needs to become a tight end. That's what I need to think.
Man, he's scary.
At 260 pounds, yeah, he needs to be a tight end.
He's a big dude.
Yeah. So I think the answer to your question is you're gonna be trading away a lot of future capital to get 2 top 10 picks in this draft class and take 2 of those guys.
Or we earn the number 1 overall pick. We don't want the quarterback, and then we trade down to someone who wants a bunch of the picks, and then we get multiple picks, but then you get 2. Get dumb. I don't think it works like that. Look, I would. My goals coming into this draft, or I should say, my goals for the draft at all are going to be: I want a quarterback, I want a wide receiver, and then I'd plug in the rest after that. I would love a linebacker, would love an edge rusher, would love a safety, some interior offensive linemen would be nice. But if you could get me quarterback and wide receiver too, that's kind of what I'm looking to come away with in this draft, regardless of what the other draft picks end up being.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my game back on.
Well, Phil has a super chat up here. I'll speak to it while you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
Because to me, it says, Dom, Mendoza ranked with 2027 draft class, ? Your top 3 quarterback, 2027. Where does Mendoza rank? I don't know. I haven't fully evaled all those guys yet, so I can't give you that answer. I can tell you of the guys I have that I plan on coming back. Mendoza grades higher than Moore. Based on this year and previous year's films, Mendoza's got a higher grade than Moore. Mendoza's got a higher grade than Darian Mensah. And Mendoza has a higher grade than Jaden Maeva from USC. And the other guys, the Rayolas, the Arches of the world, I haven't watched an eval yet, so I can't really speak to that. My top 3 quarterbacks in 2027. Let's come back, Phil. Watch the show in January after everyone commits or declares, and then I'll answer that.
Ooh, I like that. I like that answer. I love taking a look like that, little peek just into next year. Each year, I mean, obviously, a lot of fans wanted 𝐂𝐼𝐿 last year. He wound up going back to school. I like the question you posed with a Tanner McKee, 𝐂𝐼𝐿 situation, and that's where you're like, okay, I'm going to sit pat in the first round. I'm not going to move the picks up. We're going to see how it plays out, and then you just go.
I might even move down a little bit.
If both quarterbacks are gone, I would definitely consider it. If both quarterbacks are gone, let's say we're picking 5 or 6, and let's see, mock draft. This is obviously just all crapshoot here. Are there players, let's say from downs and below? Let's say 𝐷𝐿 Reese is gone from that. Is there someone from
any of the wide receivers? Any of the wide receivers? Like, I don't think that this Tankathon's mock is super accurate, but they're all just make believe anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
To me, I think it's any of the wide receivers. If it's not going to be a quarterback, you get me a guy like Cornell Tate. You get me a guy like, oh my God, you get me the kid Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. I think those guys are alphas. I think those guys have the true wide receiver 1 ability that would play very well next to Garrett Wilson.
Who's your wide receiver 4? You mentioned 4 wide receivers in the first round.
Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Is there a
very good
body style or play type that you're kind of hoping to identify?
My eye in evals always kind of seem to lean towards separators, like guys with the skill sets of Garrett Wilson, of Malik Neighbors. Like, those are the wide receivers that I tend to like. I think the kid Jordan Tyson has a lot of that in him. Cornell Tate's a little bit bigger, but Ohio State wide receivers just run. They're the best route runners that you'll find. You remember me hyping up Ibuka last year. I love Emeka Ibuka. Those are the kind of guys. Like, I like guys that can run routes and separate. I think they're just more effective in the pros than more so your big body traditional, move the sticks kind of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like that.
Paul O'Brien, Boston is not a Boston's not a big. I'm not a big fan of his. That's one of the guy bought the wide receiver from Washington. He's a big body, kind of slower,
6'4".
not the best separator. Your typical X. I'm not saying he's bad. He's just not the kind of guy that I think I want.
Is he more that jump ball style, like just
Keon Coleman-esque?
Okay. I don't hate that. I actually liked Keon Coleman coming out of here, but I agree with you. I think that separator role more so than like a size for him. Like I feel like we can get a big guy that can go up and jump if you need a jump ball dude.
Yeah, you can always find that. I think you can always find your typical contested catch 50-50 ball guy, possession type receiver. And you also have a phenomenal, contested catch receiver in Mason Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
So
some good options there.
Yes, sir.
Tom, we have hit the 9 o'clock hour.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I was late, buddy, but
that's all right. I'm gonna hold it against you for life. I'm just gonna
it's okay.
Judge you quietly. What you got going on?
Oh man, I'm knee deep myself in my guide, dude. That's really been the only focus that I've had going on. I did record a podcast episode. Hope to have it edited at sometime this week and put it out. First one of the year on my channel, Project Prospect with Dom C. All my written articles and draft and scouting reports can be found at Jets X Factor. Feel free to hop on there, throw a like, throw a comment, all that good stuff.
Hell yeah. You guys know you can find Dom C here every Monday, 8 o'clock, 8:15 to 9 o'clock. We'll be talking draft all season long and then all off season as well. Dom, thanks so much for hanging out. You have been ejected.
You're out of here
from the cockpit. All right. So Dom is out of here. I should probably update this little graphic on the side here. Let's see if I can do that real fast. Boom. Let's see. This is last week's rankings. Quinnen Williams making some noise tonight. All right, so that is the updated draft board. Let's see. I will throw the number in live chat if you guys want to call in. If not, we'll just talk a little ball in the comments. It's all good. All right, so that is pinned in there. Are you happy with the Fields benching? 87% of people are saying yes, grade the roster. No, it hurts the tank. Is only 13%. So it is kind of nice seeing fans want to see some winning. I feel like it's always a crapshoot when we're in draft season. They're like, I just want to see us tank. Whatever. It's all right. All right. Where's my little... Did I make this here? Boom. Link is in the pinned section. While we are hanging out, do a secondary ad read over here. Another sponsor of the channel. Going over to Atlas. Heading to your partner's place for the holidays and don't want to look like you just rolled out of bed? House of Atlas has you covered. Their grooming kits make it easy to clean up, and they actually look as good on the counter as they feel in your hand. Family dinners, holiday parties, meeting their dad, who definitely judges silently. Show up looking sharp and let everything else take care of itself. The best part, you can grab it on your next Target run or order on Target.com. This is the boom. I got my jet green razor here. I've absolutely loved it. House of Atlas is redefining men's grooming with premium tools and products designed to look good, feel good, and actually perform. The razor stands out with its weighted handle that feels solid in your hand, not flimsy like disposable razors, and that precision trim edge makes detailing under the nose, sideburns, and edges simple and precise. So don't stress over last-minute gifts or settle for shaving products that don't deliver. This holiday season, give yourself or someone on your list the upgrade they deserve with House of Atlas. Grab it at Target stores nationwide or online at target.com. You guys can click in the link down below if you want to support the channel and head over and get yourself some new shaving gear. Thank you so much for sponsoring the channel. All right, let's rip through some super chats. Not super chats, sorry. Already went through the super chats. We'll go through some comments in here. Brandon says, I'd take Murray if you could pry him away for a third and some change. His cap number, if traded, is very manageable. More realistically, who knows? It's November. So let me pull up Kyler's contract. I don't want Kyler Murray. That is my my stance right now. His cap number, though, 2026 would be $22.8 million in base salary, and he has a roster bonus of $17 million. So you're talking $36 million ish, $37 million cap hit for 2026. Then you're talking about what would this be? 19 plus 14, 35. You're talking about $35 million in cap hits, $35 to $40 million each of the next 3 years. He has $36.8 million in guaranteed money next year, and then no more guaranteed money beyond that. Now, his 2027 base salary becomes guaranteed on March 22nd of this upcoming year. So you would be guaranteeing him each of the next 2 seasons. You'd have him under contract for 26 and 27, and then more than likely you can move off of that 2028 if you wanted to do that with minimal cap repercussions. I don't particularly love Kyler. I think he's too short. Beefy says, Olu is boss too, so his Tippmann's center needs upgrade. I want Linderbaum in the worst way. Throw $20 million a year at Linderbaum. Make him the highest paid center. I don't care. You lock in your 2 tackles and your center for the next quarterback coming in. Done. We're not paying anyone anyway. Garrett Wilson's our biggest contract. Get me the center. We need a bridge quarterback too. I do think a bridge quarterback is the way to go. Dom mentioned Tanner McKee. I know we talked about him a few times over the last few weeks. Leading up into the trade deadline, I had said I'd love to move Fields for Tanner McKee and like a mid-round pick. I'd eat all of Fields' contract if that would be something that would help facilitate it. Connection with Joe Douglas maybe has some degree of connection, but they may want a better player because of it. Would not waste any of our picks trading up. If anything, get more picks. I would move up for Mendoza. It just depends what that threshold of picks is. Kev does not want to trade up. Brandon says, you'd rather trade a 4 for McKee than a 3 for Murray. Yes, I don't like Murray. And he's got a massive cap hit. Tanner doesn't have any cap hit, really. It's $1 million for next year. Especially if you could sign him to like a few-year deal. Like, hey, we're going to give you incentives where if you're starter, you make X amount of money. If you're on the roster, you get, this amount of money. All that good stuff. Yes, I would absolutely trade a 4th for McKee over a 3rd for Murray. That's no questions asked there. Let's go over to Andrew. Got Mr. Grzanka on the line. Andrew, what's good, dude?
How's it going, Ryan?
Hanging in there. Definitely, feeling my draft feelings, as it were. Where do you stand on where we're at right now, Justin Fields being benched and the draft moving forward?
Yeah, I'm trying to stave off the draft thoughts at least until next week because I live in the Baltimore area here. I'm only a half hour from the Ravens Stadium, so my buddy was able to get some really good seats for me, so I'm going to the game.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
I'm hoping that we see a spark of magic here with Tyrod, but
yeah, get a little competitive. I have no issues with the Jets winning games right now. We've had so many high picks that just haven't worked out anyway. Like, let's just do what we can do to win and try to change the culture.
Yeah, like you guys were saying, we got so many picks early on in the next 2 years that I'm like, we'll get there when we get there. I just want to have as much fun as I can now. I know you've been saying that was kind of the goal from the start for you for this season, and it's definitely gone differently than we would have liked.
Not a lot of fun this season.
Yeah, I'm hoping to at least squeeze whatever fun I can. Yeah, we're going to be in the fifth row on the 30-yard line. So
Hell yeah, those are great seats. I've never been down to that stadium. I've driven past it a few times, but it should be a lot of fun. If for no other reason, you get to get a good look at Linderbaum, who will be the Jets' new center next year. Fingers crossed.
that'll be good. Yeah, I mean, I've actually got a whole weekend of football. I'm going on Saturday. I'm going to the Lehigh Lafayette rivalry game,
Ooh,
if you've
very
heard of
cool.
that. So yeah, Lehigh and Lafayette, both Lehigh's in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Lafayette's in Easton, and it's the oldest college football rivalry dating back to like the 1800s.
Oh wow,
Um,
very cool.
yeah, and for the 150th game, while I was in school and in the marching band, we actually got to march on the Yankee Stadium field.
Oh, that's
So
neat.
that was really cool. But yeah, this year Lehigh is 11-0 and hoping to go in there and steamroll them, get myself all pumped up and go down to Baltimore and scream my head off. I'm going to have no voice by the end of the weekend, but
That's a good problem to have. You know what? I want to
exactly.
just see competitive football. And I think with Tyrod there, I think we're going to see at least an opportunity to grade AD Mitchell and Mechie and those guys. Like, I want to feel comfortable with the receiving group, outside of like a running partner for Garrett.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was saying going into the game last week, I was like, I didn't necessarily expect us to win against the Patriots, but I was hoping to see something that gave me something to be somewhat hopeful for. And I think I saw just enough to be to
Optimistic?
be dangerous
Sure.
to my hope. But yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely liking the switch up to Tyrod. So let's go Jets.
Hell yeah. Andrew, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Andrew, the man, coming in. Absolutely love it. Andrew, if you've seen the Jets necklace in the background, Andrew made that, brought it to Green Bean, myself, and Matt during the Jet group buy. It was so much fun. I literally play with it with my kids all the time. So, Andrew, thank you so much for doing that. Boys and girls, pinned comment has the call in number. If you'd like to call in, I'll do this till I might go till 9:30. We'll see where this all shakes out. If you can redo draft, still pick in Olu or would you go Bowers? If you told me to redo it, I would probably. I like the O line right now. I don't think we would have utilized Bowers the right way last year, so it would have been a little bit of like a wasted draft pick for last season. But I think Bowers is clearly the better player. I think I felt that way at the time as well. I guess it depends who we have at tackle then, right? Like, would Membu be your left tackle? Would you have taken a different tackle this past year? How would we have solved that position in general? It's hard for me to feel like I'm missing out on Bowers when our quarterback this year isn't really hitting anyone anyway. And last year, I don't think we would have utilized him. So I think we would have wasted 2 years of Bowers when I feel confident in the O-line currently with Fashanu. So I don't know if that really answers much of the question, but I think Bowers is the better player. Just tell me how we would fix left tackle then, if that's the direction we went. Let's go over to Rich. Rich, how you doing, dude?
Hey, good, Ryan. What's going on, man?
Hanging in there. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood over here. How you feeling about the switch to Tyrod?
I don't care. It's all about what we do in the draft, baby. We gotta
It
get
is.
the draft pick right. I'm gonna go away from here so I don't wake up my girlfriend. Um, yeah, I think it's the right move. I think it's time to make the change. But honestly, I don't really care. Um, you know, Fields Fields has a lot of talent. He just doesn't have the mental processing speed to be an effective quarterback consistently. I think to be a good quarterback, you have to have mental processing if you want to be consistent. You can have a great arm, you can have great athleticism. Uh, you can play well at like that sometimes, but you're not going to be consistent. That's what we've seen with Fields. So I don't think Tyrod's going to make a big improvement, but it's time for a change. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tyrod will be a little more decisive. I think he'll be a little more comfortable pushing the ball down the field. So I think, seeing a little bit more out of A.D. Mitchell, seeing a little bit more out of Mechie, seeing a little bit more out of Arian Smith, I think is beneficial for us. I agree. I don't think it's going to lead to many wins at all. I think we're probably hovering somewhere around the same. Like, I think we're going to see more turnovers, which is something Fields hasn't done. So we might see more yardage overall, but it might be like similar scoring or something along those lines.
I think you're right. And you know what, actually, though, it is good that we're making the switch because it'll let us see 𝐿𝐥𝐻 with a different quarterback. And hopefully that'll get some fans and media to buy in more because I really like 𝐿𝐥𝐻 a lot. And I think I said it last week, but this is the first time when we draft a quarterback where I feel like we're really surrounding him with enough talent and enough competent coaching to succeed. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and you mentioned some really key points on like quarterback in general, like the quick processing speed, the ability to get the ball out fast. Like,
super
to me,
important.
Mendoza is that. Like, that's why I feel comfortable going up to number 1 to go get him if they want to make the move. Simpson, I don't think I would want to trade up for. He scares me a little bit. I think he could be really good. I just, with the lack of starts, I'd probably be a little more
Same.
a little less, gung ho to pull the trigger on moving up.
I'm in the same boat. I'm excited to see what this staff thinks. I'm really hoping, Ryan, that we can get a top 3 pick so that we can just trade our 1 at the bottom of the first round to move up and not have to trade up anymore. If we like Mendoza and we're only giving up 1-1, I think that's a solid package. Not many other teams can offer that 1 this year, so that would be solid. Let's get our QB. JETS, baby. JETS.
Let's go. Rich, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. I got to fix my little thing that I set up here. I got too many things clicking on me now. This is what happens when I do this. Where's my timer? Hide my timer. Got my extra face over here. Boom. Boom. Go back over here. We got another favorite of the show coming in. Our buddy Cameron. Hey, Cameron. What's going on? How you doing, dude?
Good evening, Ryan. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing all right. Can't really complain. How you feeling about the switch to Tyrod?
At this point, it's a ship held together with duct tape and and string. So, and there's some hope in there too, hope from the fans. But it's something. Maybe a zip tie or two. But you know what? I want to see what the offense can look like because I'm sure this coaching staff's returning next year. It doesn't feel to me like Aaron Glenn is going to make a lot of large changes. Maybe Wilkes will change out because the defense, I'd say, has been pretty disappointing. But I think Amsterdam sticks around. So let's see if the team can move the ball. Let's see if maybe we get more creative with the running game with Hall and everyone else. Tyrod, at least is a functional. He's an adult. He will push the ball. We got fast receivers for a reason, in the trades we made. So why not utilize them? And it's not going to lead to more wins, and that's fine. At this point, I want us to stay as close to 1 as we can to keep ourselves near Mendoza. I think Mendoza gives us a solid quarterback. After you made a comment, I went back and watched, and he can move more than I thought he could. I mean, he's got a little more athleticism than I realized. Got all the accuracy, size, processing power from what I can tell. And from his different degrees and coming out of high school, he was going to go to Harvard before he went to Cal. So clearly, I learned that the other day in an interview. It's like clearly he's smart enough. And I think that would give the Jets hope. And with all the draft picks we have, you can really build the team around him. And then let's see what Glenn can do. Let's see, can he really run a team? If you get a quarterback, like a good quarterback, then what do you have? Is this Detroit or is this we have a good quarterback and the rest of it's, bad?
Yeah, falling apart. And
who knows?
The decision making is
Right.
bad. I think the penalties getting dropped has been optimistic. I think the defense has rebounded a little bit more from the beginning part of the season. I think that a lot of it is more so we don't have the horses in the stable for some of these things. And at least if we're losing because the quarterback is clearly deficient or because of, like little things that we know are problems, like that feels good. Like if the O-line looks solid, great. If Brees looks good, great. If,
I love the
young guys
O-line.
we traded
I think it's been
for are
great.
like awesome. Oh, the O-line's been awesome. Now, is there a stopgap quarterback that you want in between like Mendoza and starting, or going into free
I don't know
agency
who would
to
be
have a
out
guy in
there.
case we don't get him?
I look at, and he would need to come dirt cheap, but at least he'd be good in the room. It's a ridiculous name at all, but someone like Cousins, if they cut him and he's
Yeah.
a free agent, right? You can bring him in. He can teach someone like Mendoza. He can play. He knows he's a stopgap. And if you can get him for, the bottom of the barrel pricing because Atlanta's paying him $50 million or whatever, do it. I mean, you at least know you have an adult in the room, and then when you're 6 weeks in or something, you want to yank him and put Mendoza in. He's not gonna cause a problem. He's not gonna be bad in the media. He's not going to sink the ship while the rookie is learning. If nothing else, he'll teach him on the sidelines.
Yeah, I like
That's a
that.
name I could see getting cut.
I like that a lot. I think we're an appealing spot because of the offensive line, because of the ability to start. You can build some incentives into it and all that good stuff. I do like the idea that Glenn and Engstrand and these guys know Cousins from their time in Detroit and him being the starting quarterback in Minnesota. I think there's some degree of respect when Cousins having to game plan against Glenn's defense. And like, there is some degree of like, it's different than when Gase was here or when Bowles was here and we were trying to court Cousins initially. A little bit of a different situation.
Right.
Cameron,
Right.
thank you so much for the call. You've been boom ejected from the cockpit. Switching up all my numbers on me. Let's see, we got Max behind the scenes. Let's head over to Max. Let's see how Max is doing. Max, what's good, dude? I can't hear you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Max. Oh, there we go. We got Max on the line. What's up, Max?
Let's talk about a couple points. So first off, the game on Thursday. So it was a bad game. Some positives. The opening drive is good, but everything fell down from there. The defense on Thursday was horrible. So far through the season, like it's a net through 10 weeks. Their defense. We have only one takeaway the entire season in Week 5 versus the Denver Broncos. I think Neil mentioned this on the Asman show. Like, there's when we had an interception, two corners, it was like oh, we should have done like the one corner's like, oh, I have the ball. Instead, the two idiots decide, oh, let's just collide into each other. Let's just collide. And then I don't even know, player Stickers got a concussion. It was horrible. I didn't think the defense played good, and the Justin Fields was horrible. Honestly, I think it was a smart move by Aaron Glenn to bench Justin Fields. He's horrible. These field truthers are gonna be mad, but he's horrible. Honestly, like it was so bad.
Out there? Is that a thing? Like I haven't noticed it the same way that there was Sam and Zach truthers and even like the Bowers boys and Fashanu stuff. Like I just don't feel the same.
I see all. Honestly, I see all the time on Instagram. Just talk. I'm like, I've seen it, and like people are defending Fields. I'm like, no, he's horrible. Like he blames offensive line or receivers. Like, no, he's horrible. I mean, it was so bad. Even Al Michaels was like, oh, he's 168 passing yards. It's embarrassing, Ryan. It's embarrassing how bad Fields is. Like, you get him in the national media. And then let's talk about the Ravens game. Like, I'm glad Tyrod's starting because Fields is just horrible. But I think it will be a very close game. And I was watching Red Zone yesterday. Oh my God, the Ravens didn't even look that good against the Browns, and it was a very close game. Like I'm like the Ravens should have blown them out. So I think we'll be close to the Ravens. We might beat them because I don't know. I don't feel like the Ravens, and I think we'll beat the Falcons. Oh my God, the Falcons are horrible. They allowed 30 points to the Panthers. They made Bryce Young look like an all-star. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're beating the Ravens. Admittedly, them not playing great this season gives us some degree of an opportunity, but I just don't trust this team overall right now. The Falcons, I do think it's a winnable game. I think not having Drake London, I think not having Penix, hurts them. I think Cousins, I don't think Penix has played like super well, but at least he's a little more mobile than Cousins is. Like Cousins, I don't know if he's necessarily like a net positive as much as it is possibly like a sideways lateral move. I would say that's more of a coin flip than where I felt it would have been prior to those guys getting hurt. I think the Jets are going to find a way to win one or two more wins.
I agree with you because I'm like the Falcons look horrible, the Dolphins look horrible. I mean, maybe the Jags, but they played good last week. I mean, they played good this week, but like I just thought like when I was talking to Jake's show, I was like we might be the Jaguars because like they didn't really press me. Like, I remember they went to overtime against the Raiders, and the Raiders are horrible. Honestly, they're 2-7. Their offense, and a lot of the Raiders like 29 points. I'm like the Raiders are just horrible, especially on offense.
Hey, it's an any given Sunday kind of league. Max, thanks so much for playing. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Max, always a pleasure having you on. Talk a little bit more to the chat. Dallas currently winning 17-6. They just got a turnover. I believe it was an interception. Bomb. Air it out to... Raiders almost intercepted it. 2 minutes left in the half. Raiders down by 11 currently. Mike says, Murray is so bad I can't even get the energy to debate why that's a terrible idea. Yeah, I'm not on Ky train at all. Brent says, let's not forget Murray is super talented. First overall pick for a reason. If he was failing like McCarthy in Minnesota, I'd understand wanting to look elsewhere. He's in Arizona with Jonathan Gannon. I just don't want to have the cap hit with Kyler. I think there's other options that we could go with. I think he'll wind up with like the Raiders. I think he might stay down in the Southwest over there. Kev says, we'll be in the playoffs when Ryan is bald. You know what? That's not great considering the men in my family have some pretty decent hair later in life. We get a little bit of this like receding V kind of a thing over here, but that's not that bad. Hopefully I have my hair for a while, but I would like to see the Jets make the playoffs prior to me losing it. Trade for Mac Jones or McKee and draft a wide receiver. Depends what you got to give to get one of them. I would want McKee over Mac Jones, mainly just because I don't like Mac Jones. I think he's an asshole. McKee, I actually liked coming out of Stanford. I wanted McKee or the kid from Tennessee that I'm blanking on the name right now, drafted by the Patriots, got traded to Dallas. Is that where he's at now? You guys will know the name. Rocket Arm, whatever the hell his name is. But I like McKee. We don't need a wide receiver. That's narrative proven wrong. We are number 7 in our receivers getting open. Maybe a new quarterback solves the wide receiver problem, but I would still be all right with taking a premium wide receiver. I don't think you can have enough weapons. Outside of that, it's like edge rusher for me. And I don't know. I feel like quarterback's the position you really, really got to try and figure out. Shopping on Tankathon. Geez, says Havmo. Yeah, look, I have Tankathon up pretty much all the time. It's just one of those things. Look at the draft rankings. Look at the different players that could go, high or low. All the mock drafts now are pure crap. You're going to have to go through the Senior Bowl, the East-West Shrine Bowl, the Combine, the Pro Days and everything, and then you can get a pretty good feel for it. Wide receivers need 9.75-inch hands. I don't know where any of these guys' hands are, so there's that. The wide receiver on Ohio is really good. Saying Jeremiah, I think. Are you talking about... Let me pull it up. There's Tate, and what's the other guy? Is there 2 coming out this year? No, I guess it's just the one. You get what's-his-face next year. I don't think it's this year. We need a bridge quarterback like Daniel Jones. I would take someone comparable to Daniel Jones. I just don't know who that quarterback is without having to give up a pick. Tate is our second pick. Havmo might be the right time to go back in the bushes. Let's see. Quinnen got a sack. That was earlier. Sorry, just catching up on all this. What about a stud wide receiver at 5 and the next tier quarterback, Mateer, etc.? at 30, knowing we can even Rosen him if he stinks and double dip in 2027. I really like John Mateer a lot. According to Dom C, he thinks Mateer goes back to school. If that's the case, so be it. I really like him. Right now, he's ranked, again, this is Tankathon, 44th overall prospect. So if you wanted to take Mateer at the back end of the first round, I would be okay with that. No problem. I think the floor is a lot lower on Mateer, but he is a very gutsy, ballsy type player that I think would play well in a locker room. He gives me a lot of like Baker feels. I don't think he's as good as Baker was. And I think might need, another year at the quarterback collegiate level. We can try and tank at the same time. I agree. I don't want to actively tank, but I'm fine with losing. How do you use a razor when you got a beard? Because you got to trim it up underneath. I don't use a razor on this side, but you got to like edge. Where is it? Boom. Got to edge stuff. Come on, Inspector. Terrible name. Inspect my beard. If we can keep Tyrod upright, we'll be able to evaluate some stuff. Yeah, I think Tyrod will be fine from a stay-up perspective. I think it's a matter of if he will get hurt. Tim says, why would people want another quarterback that can't throw? No, and not to mention he's slower than Fields and shorter. Just no. Talking about Kyler. Yeah, I don't want Kyler either. Got my other little sponsor of the channel. Boom! Crescent Canna. Click on the pinned comment or go into the live stream description below. Get yourself some gummies. Jet Life 30 gets you 30% off. Gummies over at Crescent Canna. I've enjoyed it. Helps me stay a little bit sane during these damn Jet games. And just chill out. Murray throws a beautiful ball. Are you kidding? It's not the problem. I don't think his arm is the problem. I think he's got like a pretty strong arm. I think he's pretty accurate. I think the height is a concern. I think there's something to be said for that wonky contract with he has to study X amount of like game film a week. So I'm all right with not having him. Are we number 6th in the draft right now? No, Kev, we are number 5. You might have seen it when I had the previous one up. Phil wants to pass on Murray. Wild Wave says, I'd rather trade for McKee than trade up for any of these quarterbacks. I like McKee. I would trade for McKee. He's got 1 year. That said, I would trade up for Mendoza. Tim says he's in the same boat. Would probably give up a fortune to. We'd probably have to give up a fortune to get up to number 1. We need all the picks we can get. Yeah, look, I'm not looking to give up a fortune. If someone wants to give a monster haul of picks, that's fine. I'm not about doing that. The quarterback the Jets need to go after is Mac Jones. He has learned under Shanahan and would love to stick it to the Pats. God, you know what? I can understand why people want to go Mac Jones. I think he has played well. I like the idea of him being under Shanahan. I like the idea of him wanting to stick it to the Pats. But at the same time, I just don't like Mac Jones, the person. I want to root for the quarterback we have, not just because he's on our team. Felt a little embarrassed for Fields when he acted. He proved anything when he won his first game. I don't know. Aaron Glenn is a dancing clown. Don't get too excited on Linderbaum. I'd give him the bag. I'm going to get excited because I want Linderbaum. And I think the Jets should do what they can to try and get him. If it's $20 million a year to make him the top paid center by like $2 million a year, go do it. We have the money. The Ravens probably not going to match that type of price for him. Maybe they hit him with a transition tag to give themselves the right of first refusal as opposed to just losing him outright. But I would go all in on Linderbaum. If he was our only free agent acquisition, I would be fine with that. Glenn makes all his decisions after talking to Parcells. Yeah, it feels like he's always between him and Sean Payton. I like that he could bounce things off of him, but I don't know. Jonathan, what are we getting? What quarterback are we getting in the offseason? Jonathan, you got me. I don't know. Give me Gardner Minshew and a box of glazed donuts. Is Minshew still in the league? Where is Minshew? I got to look this up. I love Minshew. I would have been happy with a Minshew addition. He's on the Chiefs, 29 years old. Yeah, I mean, he'll be a free agent next year. I would sign Minshew as a little stopgap action. It's a good thought, Jets Worldwide. Dallas taking it to the Raiders right now. I don't foresee the Raiders coming back from this. Sad. Start eating bean burritos if you want to pass gas loudly, says Chunky Higgins. Havmo, I'm guessing that Friday morning, AG's secretary said, "Good morning, Mr. Glenn." Yeah, Woody stopped by, wants to meet up. Yeah, we can't see Fields anymore. Got to move off them. Phil says, I'm getting tired of guys with high ceilings and all the talent in the world, but can't play football and never pan out. Are you talking about Fields in particular? I would prefer the safer option in Mendoza. I think he could have a high ceiling, but I think he has a very high floor. The fan base wanted Rodgers with the Swiss cheese O-line. I'm not getting hyped on this fan base. Look, we wanted Rodgers because we thought we could solve the O-line in a year, which I feel like we kind of did for the most part. It just kind of fell apart. So I don't know. I'm all in on Mendoza. Would you consider giving Cook a couple starts at the end of the year just to see what he has? I don't think there's anything that Cook could show me that would prevent me from drafting any quarterback in the top 2 rounds next year. So maybe to switch it up and not see Tyrod or Fields again, sure, why not? But I'm not on board with him. Phil, not impressed with Mendoza to waste picks moving up when we need to build a team. Just depends on how much you got to give up. I'm seeing double. There's 2 Ryans. That was before when I had the double Ryan cam. Jets fans haven't learned their lesson. We've already tried throwing a young quarterback to the fire of a poor roster. Let's build up the roster first, then trade up for a quarterback. KC and Philly did it. I don't mind going that route, but I don't think the roster is like that bad. Like I think the offense has enough to win. If you bring Brees back, you have Garrett. You're going to draft another wide receiver. You've got some other young wide receivers that you like. Tight end's pretty good. Like the offense is the nurturing environment that you want. I'm fine with like losing games because the defense isn't quite there if the offense is there. Like this is a way better offense than anything that Darnold had. I think Zach eventually did have a very nice complement of weapons. I think Rodgers had a nice complement of weapons. I don't know. We haven't done a great job the last few years. Quarterback School on YouTube criticized OC for not spacing wide receivers enough. Doubt OC knows how to teach a rookie quarterback. I'll have to watch it. I like the Quarterback School. I like is that JT O'Sullivan? Is that who runs that one? I didn't know he did one on Engstrand. Everyone needs a neighbors-like receiver, but he's hurt already. Yeah, but in ACL you can't really like game plan for that. Jets can swap 2 late first-round picks from first to second in 26 and 27 and trade up from pick 4 to pick 2 for Mendoza. You might have to go up to 1, though. That's the issue. Cousins is a smart money man. Not coming to the Jets, it would be the end of his money train, LOL. It depends what his contract is. Let's see. Kirk's contract. So Kirk has $10 million in guaranteed salary next year. So he's going to wind up making more money than his contract's worth. I think they are going to cut him, and someone's going to pay him $20 million a year. I think that's what it's ultimately going to end up being. He signed a big signing bonus, which is why they held on to him. Now, maybe it depends. They can't even keep him. He's got like a $57 million cap hit next year. Yeah, he's as good as gone. He'll be cut. As far as where else he'd go, I'm sure there's other options for him than the Jets. Depends what his contract looks like. You're getting Kyler Murray because you won't have to give up a first for him. Yeah, but I just don't want Kyler. He's got a fat contract that I don't want any part of. What about Mac Jones as a bridge? No, I don't want him. I understand why, but I don't want him. Cheese and rice, Ryan is such a gentleman. He'd keep going, but his eyes are telling him no. This guy's huge. Talking about Cameron. Yeah, because he was all zoomed in. My eyes, for whatever reason, like this time of night, I don't know if it's just like I've rubbed them and I've gotten something in my eye, but it just stings. Hurts like hell. Let's see. Let's scroll down a little bit, see where else we got coming on here. You want Burrow? Give me all them picks. See why it's going to be Kyler. Yeah, look, I don't want to give up a crazy ton of picks. Burrow, I would give up the 3 1s for, though. I think you can do that and justify it. Joe Milton, that's the quarterback I was thinking of before. Thank you, Matthew. If the Titans and their new head coach like Mendoza or Simpson, would we feel trading our 2 for Cam Ward? He's bad, but he's on the worst team in football with nothing on offense. Just a thought. I would not do that for Cam Ward. I think I'd rather wait a season or take, like, for a second round pick, I'd probably be more in on like McKee for a year than Cam Ward for, what is it, 4? I'm just not a big Cam Ward guy. Ryan probably dreams of Mox in his sleep. Asks his wife. Ask wife if you ask for Mendoza. Yeah, I love mock drafts, especially because like I got nothing to cheer for on Sundays right now. Like I'm hoping to see some competent football, but more often than not, we don't get it. Murray won't be able to see over Mendoza over Tittman. Yeah, that's a problem. See Al calling in. Let's go over to Al. Let's see what Al's doing. Al.
Hey,
How
can you
goes
see
it, dude?
me?
I got you loud and clear.
Quick question. Why are Jet fans? I understand the team has been dog shit for 15 years.
Mhm.
Why are they afraid for a true rebuild? Because
What's the like? What do you see as a true rebuild?
a true rebuild is to not, especially when you have 3 2027 assets in the first round, not going all in for quarterbacks that I see many flaws in. Like
So
people
you
are
don't like the
willing
idea
to
of going out for Mendoza?
absolutely not. No, I if he falls to me, great. I'm fine with it. I'm not trading any assets to move up to any of these guys. None, 0, nothing.
Is there a position player like let's say Simpson and Mendoza are gone? Is there like someone that you're sort of gravitating towards, or maybe a position group at the top of the draft?
At the top, it's weird because I don't think the top of the draft is that great. I mean, I'm more excited about picks 25 to 50, the 3 picks they have after the first pick. If a team wants to come up for our pick, if Mendoza and Simpson are gone, come get him. I would love a 4th first round pick for 2027.
Do you think that's what they would give up? I mean, if the top part of the draft isn't as like appealing, why would a team come up for him?
If there is a team that covets an Arvell Reese or covets a Ruben Bain, I mean, think about this. Atlanta stupidly gave up a first round pick in next year's draft to move up for James Pierce. And now that pick's a top 10 pick. Again, I think the problem is Jet fans want to rush a rebuild, and the Jets are in such a great position where they can slow play the rebuild and let the chips fall where they may, and players can fall to us rather than us chasing players.
So I'm fine with that. What would your quarterback, I don't want to say solution, but your quarterback for 2026, so what does that look like for you?
I would go bridge. I would see, I mean, first of all, I'd cut Fields. I'd post 6-1 him.
Yeah.
I'd take the $10 million savings on that, and maybe spread the cap hits from there on. I mean, I would go Minshew, and if I'd go Minshew, and if one of the two quarterbacks, if Simpson or Mendoza falls to us, perfect. We can take him that high. If not, I would take a guy in round 2 or round 3. I'd move back for one of the Colts picks and get a guy there. Again, I don't understand why people want to. They're talking about taking quarterbacks back-to-back years in the first round, which
That
I
sounds
find
terrible.
ludicrous. It's
Yeah.
ludicrous. I know
I
that.
didn't
I know
realize
the
Minshew
Cardinals.
was a free agent this year. I'm totally down with Minshew as the bridge guy.
Yes, I would take a Minshew as a bridge guy. A lot of teams smartly signed guys last year for 2-year deals, and that's Mac Jones, and that's Davis Mills, and that's Jameis Winston. I would sign Minshew for a 1-year deal and maybe have one of the rookies be a backup. Maybe you could find somebody in round 2 or 3 if Mendoza or Simpson is not there for us in our pick. But again, I'm not chasing any of the quarterbacks this year. The team has so many holes, and you have so many opportunities to fix those holes with position with picks in the latter stages of the first round to the mid second round, and there's no need to trade any additional picks for mid quarterbacks. And I like Mendoza. I don't love Mendoza. I think there's limitations to his game. I think he if you watch that game against Wisconsin last week, he took 5 sacks. I think 3 of those are due to the fact that he's just not athletic enough. I mean, he should have thrown those balls away. That's the problem I have. I think the greatest quality with him is he's cerebral, such a smart kid, but I think there are limitations to his game. And I know people fall in love with a quarterback because we have none, but you have to pump your brakes and just not chase quarterbacks simply because we do not have one.
So I guess my thought process with Mendoza is I know Muji's been to 3 of the games with him. If they feel like he's the guy, like to me, I'm cool with giving up, both 1s this year and a 2 next year. If that's what it winds up being, and then have 3 firsts next year and 2 seconds this year, like that to me is plenty of picks if you feel like you got your guy. Because there's no guarantee that you're going to get your guy in 2027. There's no guarantee that certain guys are going to come out. I like the back end of the first round kind of guys. If Mateer's there, I think he's a fun quarterback to take a swing on, but I feel like his floor is a lot lower than some of the other guys. Nussmeier, I feel the same sort of way with.
I would take Nuss early in the second round if you have to.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not trading 2 1s to move up in this draft. I'm just not. Again,
that's
Mendoza.
That's assuming the guy's sold on Mendoza. Like if Muji's sold on him, that's the price I'd be like okay with moving up to do.
I think he's going to be exposed in the Ohio State game because of their speed linebackers. I do.
I think it's going to be important to see him through the college football playoffs for sure.
Because when you have Reese on one side and you have Styles up the middle, and they're just so deep everywhere, I just think the speed of Ohio State will expose him. And again, I like Mendoza. I actually watched him a couple of years when he was at Cal. I think he came to the perfect situation with Cignetti at Indiana, but I'm not completely sold on the fact of giving up multiple assets for him. Again, I'd rather build a roster in 26, knowing that I have 3 first in 27 when there is a chance to be 4 or 5 quarterbacks up top. And if then you need to move up, you have the ammunition to do so. Again, you need to build the rest of this roster rather than blowing up the roster or blowing up some opportunities because you need a quarterback. You don't need a quarterback that badly in the first year. You need a quarterback through 27. Again, one of these next 2 years, you need to find yourself a quarterback. It doesn't have to be this year. And I think a lot of people are just scared of another 4-13 season. And I understand why, but you can't rush this process. They're in such a good spot with the cap space and with the assets that there's no need for them to rush this process.
I love it. Al, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected to the cockpit. From the cockpit, not to the cockpit. See, started saying the wrong stuff now. It's all good. I've got Ronnie, and then I've got, where is Gary V? sitting behind the scenes. Let's go over to Ronnie. Let me get my button here. Boom. Ronnie, how you doing, dude?
How you doing, Ryan?
Hanging in there. What are your thoughts on the Fields benching, and where do you see the Jets going at quarterback?
I mean, at this point, I'm 30 years into this, Ryan. 30 years of just, I don't even know what these guys at this point anymore. From the Kotite era to all the way through, you gotta sit them. You gotta sit them. It's unplayable. It's unwatchable football. It just, I mean, you can pull Joe Schmo off the street from the Canadian Football League. He might give you those numbers. I'm pretty sure he'd give you those numbers.
I could have just eaten, I could have thrown in completions nonstop and gotten more net passing yards than some of Fields' games.
Yeah, so it's hard to watch. And I guess at that point you have to just, you put Tyrod in. We know he's not the guy. We've seen enough. His sample, he doesn't have a small sample size. He's been in the league for years on years, right? You put him in. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. Most likely he will. You got to see what Cook has. And right, you just have to. If you're going to clean house, if you're going to do everything that you did, you got to play it that way. But the answer's not on the team. The answer might not even be in the draft. I'm not a Mendoza supporter like you are, but obviously he's the best option there if you're going to reach for a quarterback, right? But 3 picks in 2027, I don't reach. I get a stopgap. Not Kyler Murray, please. We did Aaron Rodgers. I've done Aaron Rodgers. I've done Brett Favre, right? I've done the Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I've done the let him go. They blossom. Sam Darnold. I never wanted to get rid of Sam Darnold. Sam was my guy. Sam was my guy, right? I never believe I was living in Utah, BYU. He's throwing balls against cornerbacks that are going to be bagging groceries, and they're in the office like we love them. So I don't know what to do. Yeah, so it's just a never-ending circle, and it's like I always, my cousin, he's a Jets fan too, and I always tell him the one thing you can count on is the Jets are consistently inconsistent. There has to be something in that. There has to be just consistently inconsistent.
I mean, the Jets have just always found a way to just burn us up year in and year out. Now, as far as like a stopgap goes, I don't know if you mentioned the stopgap you'd like to see if you're not reaching on a quarterback this year. Is there like a you see who becomes available during free agency? I wouldn't have mind Kirk Cousins if we would have reached out for Kirk before I knew Justin Fields wasn't the answer, right? I've watched Chicago Bears football. It was unwatchable. And here we are. I've been calling it a soft tank. I wanted Fields for the soft tank. I was all game for that.
Well, hopefully we turn something into those picks, man, because I was there when we had 4 first-rounders. None of those guys turned out to be the real deal. I mean, maybe Sean Ellis, maybe.
I wouldn't say none. I mean, one of the 4 was Chad, wasn't he?
Yeah, but Chad is to us. Chad is like something, but to the league, Chad Pennington wasn't that guy, right?
Yeah, you could.
To the Jets,
he's got a warm spot in my
heart. Yeah, I was there when we made it, when we won the division, when we beat them 41-0. In my mind, those Jets are still scoring against Peyton Manning.
I didn't get to go to that game. I was at the game before it when we beat the Packers, when the New England Patriots had to beat the Dolphins in overtime for us to have a shot. That was one of the loudest I've ever heard about life. Like the only thing that compares is like the cheers coming out with Rodgers that first year before the injury. Like absolutely.
Yeah, I remember that 100% because we didn't go inside until we had the decision from the Miami game.
Oh, dude, I was inside and like no one's watching the game. Like they had to be partway through the first quarter or something like that. And like everyone's on their like Walkmans listening to like AM radio, and you just hear the fans start going ape shit. They're going absolutely bananas. Crazy. And the players, I think it was a TV timeout too. The players are like looking around. They're like, what is going on right now? And the guy comes over the loudspeaker. The New York Jets have the opportunity to get the Miami Dolphins have lost the New England Patriots. The Jets have an opportunity at the division, and then fucking just kick the shit out of Brett Favre.
Mayhem. I remember the swarm of people rushing the stadium because we were watching it tailgating, and when that went off, it was like the stadium opened up again for a second time. Everybody came to the game, but that was the best.
I love it, Ronnie. Thank you so much for the call. Nice you have been. Where's my button? Where's my button? Where's my button? Ejected from the cockpit.
Get out of here!
Bye-bye, Ronnie. I gotta fix my timers. I got my timers all screwed up over here. Let's go to Mr. Sunshine and Rainbows. What's up, Jake? How you doing, dude?
Oh, Brian, how you doing, man?
Sorry, I probably should have led you in a little better than Sunshine and Rainbows. How you feeling about the Tyrod, the Fields benching, the Tyrod starting, and just kind of the outlook on the Jets moving forward this back half of the season?
Tyrod's my boy, man. I'm happy for him. I just talked to him this weekend. I'm very happy for him.
What'd you say?
I talked to him. He's my client.
What? No way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very neat.
Yeah.
He seems like a good
guy.
dude.
He's a very nice guy.
I had reached out to him last year for his charity. I believe he does a golf outing, I think, and I extended a donation, and I don't think he ever got back to me.
Yep.
I tried to, but very cool. So Tyrod's starting the back half of the season. What do you want to see the last half of the year?
Look, I think he's the right option. He really is the guy. We need to really see what you even have on this team, because right now, my hopes of Justin Fields being a future guy is pretty much over at this point. You can't justify throwing like Tim Tebow numbers. Like, it's getting to the point, like, it's been that bad. So to me, excuse me, I just think that Tyrod at least is a competent quarterback, and he's a good listener, and he's going to know what he needs to do. He doesn't have to be a flashy guy. That's it. He goes out there, he does the job, he's very consistent. And I think, if anything, right now, that goes a long way into the evaluation process of what this team is doing or whatever at this point right now. I think that they really need to understand who their weapons are, what if they do have weapons here, because I will tell you truthfully, the only offensive weapon I have watched now in the last few weeks that's been somewhat impressive is John Mechie. Like, John Mechie looks like actually a competent wide receiver who got a chance to get some snaps, and he actually performed with like minimally knowing the playbook, while Adonai Mitchell dropped like 9 passes in a row, even though Justin's throws were.
I know he didn't have a crazy ton of drops coming out of college, and I think some of it might have to do with just Fields, ball placement. It's not entirely on Fields, but I do want to see a little more of AD Mitchell. I think it's nice seeing him get open consistently if he can figure out the drops. Arian Smith seems to have figured out the drops. If by the end of the season, Tyrod Taylor's able to give us enough of a grade that we feel confident, like, hey, we've got wide receiver 3 and 4 on this team. Like, we're happy with that. We might need a wide receiver 2 through the draft. Like, that's cool with me. I want to see some of these other guys develop. I want to see what the offense looks like with Engstrand calling plays with a competent quarterback. I just think grading the rest of the team is just so important. And Fields just, God, you couldn't do anything with him back there.
No. And actually, I was looking at the free agent quarterback list because I'm just kind of exploring it. Honestly, I'm fine bringing Tyrod back as the bridge guy. I'm not trying to be biased. It's just the options are just so minimal this year, and I think you at least have somebody who's comfortable with the franchise. He loves the franchise. He actually loves playing for the Jets, like more than a lot of people realize. Awesome. So it's a good, he really enjoyed his experience so far. So to me, I really want someone here who at least has an idea about what's going on, because they're about to transition into this so-called, deep rebuild, even though as a fan we've gone through this how many years, so it's not like really can keep track anymore. My headline name, because it's not my name, is I will keep saying it because I just do not believe in Woody Johnson anymore. I don't know how much faith I have in Aaron Glenn and Mujie or whatever. I think they made some good trades. Listen, Gwen Williams is performing tonight. I mean, you can see how energetic, but I'm happy for him. I kind of recapped another show. Like, I think Quinnen deserves the best. He really worked his butt off here. He spoke up when he needed to speak up, and the Sauce Gardner trade, 2 first-round picks. Look, I don't think corners as valuable as most people think, unless you're Patrick Surtain or Derek Stingley. Because I think Sauce kind of died out after a certain point, and they have the Brownlee. Jarvis Brownlee? Is that the kid that we have? The other guy?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brandon Stevens, whatever. He's like, the Ravens are happy we took him off. But the fact is that for the team they are now, and like what the franchise is going to be going forward, we don't know what they're going to be like drafting with these picks yet. Like, we really just do not know. And I'm not look. I'm an Ohio State guy, and I'll be biased. You know, I don't think Fernando is as good as people think. Like I think he's gotten lucky with a lot of games. I think that he's made Curt Cignetti. He got Curt Cignetti's extension, so he should be very happy with. I mean, Indiana's lucky they've had Michael Penix and Fernando at least here to perform and give the program some relevancy. But look, it's Sonny Styles and Kenyatta Jackson and Arvell Reese. Like, you know, Pencil Patricia is going to be ready to go how to prepare against him. He's done the best, and there's a reason why the number one team. And Julian Sane is the name next year people will be talking about. You will hear his name more and more and more. How I nobody will talk about him because he was the guy that was supposed to play for. He was supposed to play for Nick Saban. He was supposed to play for Nick Saban in Alabama. And then, you know, Kalen DeBoer came. He's like, I'm not dealing with that. And then he came to Ohio State. So this kid was primed to be like, well, everyone's going to talk about Ty Simpson. And then obviously talk about, you know, Tua and Jalen Hurts. Like this was the next big guy. So like, keep in mind, like this is a guy who really was ready to be a big quarterback in the SEC. And because let's face it, like since Justin Fields, like Ohio State really hasn't had any dominant quarterbacks, even though they had Will Howard. So I'm just saying that
do you
I
want
think
to punt on quarterback this year? That's kind of your feeling. Wait till 27.
Yeah, I think Ty Simpson's not as impressive as people think either. I think Dante Moore may come out, but I think he's going to get a lot more money to go back to Oregon because he's still young, he's still raw. Look, this was a quarterback class that everyone thought was going to be Arch. Arch was not impressive. I told all my Georgia friends, I said I think they're going to beat the crap out of him, and they did. And then you look at other guys like Cade Klubnik, Lenore Sellers is starting to develop. I mean, maybe he'll come out. Maybe Lenore Sellers will say, you know what, this is a good year because next year there's going to be a lot more quarterback options. But to me, it's just the Jets are in no position next year to probably win a ton of games. And look, if Tyrod plays, look, I think he should do the best he can to win games with a much more improved roster, meaning give him another receiver, give him another running back, because if Breece Hall's not coming back, which let's face it, we're not paying him $15-20 million. I'm not doing that. So
you don't think they're going to try and bring him back? It would be, if they let him walk for nothing, I'd be so mad. Like at least bare minimum do tag and trade.
It's Ryan. I think that wasn't there an offer going with Kansas City for a third-round pick? Was that a real offer?
There was a 4th round pick. The Jets wanted a 3rd round pick. To not take a 4th round pick if you have no intention of re-signing him is idiotic.
Yeah, I that's why I think we should calm down this guy being like a superstar GM. Like we said this about Joe Douglas, and I said it. Like we have to really make sure. Excuse me. We have to really make sure we know he can actually draft players because Joe Douglas drafted a couple good guys, but you know what he's going to be tarnished for was taking Zach Wilson. So you know it's already kind of a strike a little bit for Glenn and Mujie right now because they took Justin Fields. Now it wasn't a massive deal. I don't think it was I think it's pretty average. Like I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my god.
I feel like this was a punt season, and Justin Fields was their version of like, hey, let's have a soft tank. Like if Mujie came into this, and he'll obviously never admit it, this is all speculative on my part, but I think the calculation was, hey, we got to give the young guys some thought that there's effort being put forward to hopefully have a young quarterback. I think you give the fans an opportunity, like, because there's some, storylines with Fields that you could sell fans on to try and sell tickets. And then I've been calling it a soft tank with Justin Fields. You knew he wasn't going to win you many games. You were going to hope you could understand the roster. They structured the Sauce contract in such a way they knew they were going to be able to get out of it if they got the right deal at the deadline. And then you inked in Garrett long term. So if signing Fields was able to do that, get you the high draft pick to hopefully get your quarterback, like I'm kind of okay with it. Like this was a let's just see kind of year. I don't know if there was a quarterback in hindsight that I'd really want to go back and sign. Maybe, you consider Daniel Jones for this past season, but I don't know if that would have really made me super happy either.
Ryan, let me ask you a question because this was kind of speculated a little bit about me with the Giants, but if Kevin Stefanski's available, would you actually hire him as a head coach?
I have cooled off a little bit on Stefanski. I do think he's a good coach. I don't think the Jets would make the move because I think you trade away all these assets to give Glenn and Mujie the opportunity to use them. Now, if Glenn kind of regresses, I feel like in the last few weeks we've seen him at least make some calculated decisions. Like it feels like he's trending in the correct direction now. After the first half of the season, I did not like Glenn. I thought he made bad end of the half decisions, bad end of the game decisions. But I don't think Woody's going to eat 5 or 4 additional years to get Stefanski. Yeah, just my thinking on that. I don't dislike him.
So you think you just want to ride out with Glenn, but you don't believe in him? Is that the consensus I'm getting from this?
I don't think I necessarily don't agree with him. I want to feel comfortable by the end of the season. I would say I'm still lukewarm on him. I think the Jets are going to give him 2 years regardless. So just I'm going to sit back and just hope for the best.
Ryan, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this though, and I think this is a prime example of a game that people probably overlooked. You look at Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I will tell you, Josh Allen is an unbelievable quarterback. I maybe given him a lot of crap for many years. He put an unbelievable performance out there. What was lacking in that game? A defense. Who's his head coach now? Been there for so many years. Sean McDermott.
Yep.
How's his defense going for him right now? Not very good. And they actually might not win a Super Bowl in light of it. I'm just going to give fair warnings to a lot of people here, is that for people to just assume a defensive-minded coach is going to win a Super Bowl very soon, I'd be very, I tread lightly on that, because I know everyone loves Mike Tomlin. I understand there's a lot of guys out there, like you can say McDermott, who's gone far, but at some point, you need to know you have a guy that can run the operation and know how to run a formidable offense, because right now, I may not love Bo Nix, but look at the Denver Broncos right now. They are actually about to take the kings of their division down. Actually, I'm sorry, they did it already. They kind of done it already. They just did, and now you have the Chargers with a franchise quarterback that iffy, even though he has Harbaugh, which that is kind of a problem. Maybe Herbert is a problem, but having the true offensive-minded coach, to me, is something I still am yearning for. I'm still yearning for it, and I think it's going to be the quarterback's best friend. Am I going to sit here and mock Glenn and say he's a disgrace and all that? No, but at the same time, I don't just give him the keys and just go with this because Woody's afraid about what he did with Saleh and throwing him out after 4 weeks. It's I need to know what justifies to tell me Aaron Glenn is smart enough to get the job done.
I don't think there's enough evidence to say he can.
I'm waiting for that still.
I am in complete agreement. I don't think you necessarily have that knowledge yet. I think it's one of those things you're hoping to see by the end of the season. You're hoping to feel a little more confident in him. The defensive head coach thing and the offensive coaches winning Super Bowls is absolutely a major concern. I do like Engstrand. I thought he was a pretty bright mind. Now, are there better offensive minds out there that can lead you to a Super Bowl? Probably, there is, but it's a matter of the Jets attracting that person here to be the head coach, which was our biggest problem last year. There was not going to be any offensive head coach coming. It was a lame duck kind of season. I liken our offseason similar to the Texans when they fired their head coach and they knew they weren't going to have Deshaun Watson. They had David Culley there for 2 years, where it's okay, this guy's just got to hold down the fort until we get the next.
1 year.
Oh, it was 1 year.
Brian,
well, he signed I think it was a 4-year deal is what he
wanted.
1
year.
No,
1
no,
year.
but I think he signed a 4-year deal because he knew it was
Okay.
that kind of lame duck season.
Yeah. Sure.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that could be the same thing that, maybe Glenn tried to do, but I don't know if that coach is out there for us after this year. The fact that we have so many picks in 27 gives me an opportunity to kind of sit back and say, okay, well, if Glenn doesn't work out, we're definitely going to be a hot spot for a head coach in 2027. So I'm cool with giving him the 2 years. It's just a matter of how much confidence you have in Muji based on his picks, his free agency, his contracts, everything like that, and how he decides to utilize those draft picks and how much influence Glenn has on those. Because in an ideal world, you're drafting the players that Muji likes, and they're players that could fit whoever the next guy potentially is as well. Not that you're scheme specific to another guy in the future.
Ryan, I'm going to disagree with you. Is that right now what the Giants are doing with keeping Joe Shane and firing Dable, I think is a terrible decision. I don't agree with it at all, because
I don't think Muji's been here long enough. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think Shane should be gone as well from the Giants. But he's been there a while. Muji's only in year 1.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying that this should be a collaborative effort. It should be two people that came into the team together who know each other very well. And at the same time, it's like, look, I know maybe I'm playing a little defense to Daboll. Like they found the quarterback. They found their quarterback, and the coach gets fired and the GM gets to stay. I don't get that at all. I think that's honestly it's horseshit, truthfully. And
I
that's
think
why I
it's
think in
because
the
of
end,
Daboll's
if you're going to
coaching.
fire the coach, if you're going to fire the coach, then the GM should go along with him. It should not. We did this with Joe Douglas, letting it take solid. Then they fired both of them. To me, it's look. I don't think it was rocket science to get 2 first-round picks for Sauce. I'm not going to just give Muggsy like a 10-year extension. Like he's going to have to draft like the next franchise quarterback for the next 5-10 years if you
Well,
really
he's got
want me
like
to justify.
he's got a 4 or 5 year contract. Like you don't have to be like jumping out the door for Muji right now. I think when you look at the
I'm
Giants,
saying if
the
Glenn's
big
fired,
part of
I'm saying both are fired.
yeah.
I'm
I
saying
mean, if you
fire
were
Glenn,
if
you're not going to. I don't agree with keeping Muggsy. You have to fire both of them. I do.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Was Muji who was brought in first? I guess they were announced
How's Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski? We mock Kevin Stefanski. Andrew Berry wasn't his guy. That wasn't truly his guy. That was the franchise's idea, but it wasn't his guy. It doesn't have to be like their best friend. It doesn't have to be like, Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo together, like have to coach together. I'm saying like it has to be a situation where two guys know each other well enough, understand their flaws, their strengths, and they know how to build off of it. And knowing that the next guy, that's why I thought Joe Shane would have done a great job. And they found the right quarterback. I'm going back to it again. They did. Just because like
well, I
of the
think
running
also
stuff.
like Daboll got canned 110% because Daniel Jones is looking good. After Daboll had the opportunity to coach him up. I think Dart was the only thing that could have saved Daboll's job, and the fact that he kind of put him in situations where he was just putting his body on the line a little too much. Probably an issue. I think the defensive coordinator probably should have gone before Daboll went. I was a big Daboll supporter, but I know a lot of my Giant fan friends were not very high on Daboll this year.
Look, I think Wink was a good choice. They should have kept him, but there was a lot of internal struggles that happened and let him go to Michigan. But that's a whole nother discussion. I'm just saying that I think that if you're going to keep one guy and then you let go of the other, it becomes, because let's face it, like also, Muggsy and Glenn were the whole like Bowles McCagnon thing from the 33rd Street thing, whatever. Like it's the same arrangement. So arranged marriages are not always the greatest situation, and that's why I feel like these two need to either hit everything out of the park together and catch up fast on knowing like who what their favorite ice cream flavors are or whatever, so they can make this work. Or to me, it's I don't know. It's just like I to trust the next like this is the biggest set of picks we have this year and next year since probably like the Chad Pennington, like Sean Ellis, like John Abraham, kind of Anthony Beck draft. I mean, this is the most
Sure.
I've ever seen. So, and I think, in my opinion, the reason why these draft picks are appealing and they're high and they're kind of in a rebuilding mode, that would attract a great coach. Talk about like when we talk about Bill Cowher wanting the possible position for when Trevor Lawrence came. I remember we were talking about that endlessly. So to me, I think that still can be appealing if Glenn is just rubbing people the wrong way. But in the end, what do I know? I mean, you guys might all be right. They're just going to give it to him just, by default, and there's nothing we can say. And in some ways, I blame Woody Johnson for that. That's why I would like new ownership. I'm sorry. I want new. No, I'm not sorry. I want new ownership.
Would
It's not good.
Stefanski be your coach?
It's not good enough.
Is there a coach out there right now that you're like, oh, that's the guy I want if he wants to come here?
I'm sorry. Repeat the question one more time.
Is there a coach out there that you look at and say, oh, if he wants to come to the Jets, that's the guy I want?
If Stefanski was available, I would. Yeah,
that's the one you would pull the
trigger.
trigger.
This guy was offensive coach of the year. It was a coach of the year candidate. Like we're not going to sit here and pretend like this guy has no talent. He got they made a bad decision with Watson. I could have told you it was a bad decision. He has at least made a somewhat. He got Quinshawn Junkins, who's looked decent enough. Jerry Jeudy at least looks somewhat appealing. They have such a lack of talent. I blame Andrew Berry for part of that too. I think Kevin Stefanski has just gotten some bad luck, and now he has to take fault of the Sean Watson deal. He was part of that too. So I will say he takes part of that. I think he knows he'll never do something like that again, with a free agent, especially with his massage stuff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He is just such a very smart, offensive-minded guy. Is he like the Andy Reid? No, but to me, he looks like he has shown you enough with an inept franchise. Now, would he want to go to another inept franchise? I think that's
I
a
was
whole
gonna say
other
that might be
question.
the other part of it.
Maybe, yeah, he probably would be like, I want to go to a franchise that is more stable, more secure. Listen, let's say if John Harbaugh didn't work out, he may have gone to Baltimore. I mean, he said, I'll go to the other city and take that job. I just look, and we can go through other veteran options. It could be like Mike McCarthy. It could be John Gruden. It could be a lot of guys. But the caveat is, whoever they bring in one of those guys, they have to have their offensive successor ready to go. Like they have to have their guy in the next 2 years. Because I'm not asking John Gruden to be here for 5-10 years. I'm telling him have your guy here, who's going to step in day one with the right general manager, not Mike Mayock, but a guy can take the job right and actually draft the right players, not Henry Ruggs guys, and build a real offense and do something with it with the next young guy who takes the quarterback to the next level. Because right now, let's face it, we have Drake May and Mike Vrabel. It's like the Brady Belichick babies are back again with that. The Dolphins, I think that's going to end at some point. And the Buffalo Bills, we'll see how long this ride lasts until Sean, like I said, if defensive-minded Sean McDermott is affecting it. So I just think that, to just go the rest of the year and say if they just lose out and then we should just give everything to them. Think about the high draft picks. Think about the high-level draft picks that they have this year and next year. They need to think really hard to themselves and say, do we want to give the keys to these guys, Glenn and Mujie? Because if this doesn't work, it's another 4 or 5 years of reverse. And at that point, my patience, I'll be done. I'm already done now. It's like I'm just going to be completely done. It's like, like Tyrod's keeping me going. I'm rooting for him all the way. I hope he actually wins games. But at the same time, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. And I don't know. Maybe Woody Johnson's in the files. That'd be nice.
Well, Jake, I meant to not cancel you out like that, but Jake, you're gone. Boom. Where's my chicken? There we go. I appreciate talking to you, Jake. I accidentally clicked my little button preemptively. I did not mean to do that to you, Jake. I heard what you said. I don't know if the chat heard that last little bit, but dude knows what he's talking about. I don't disagree with a lot of what Jake was saying. I think I like Stefanski. I don't think Woody's gonna do it. I would be very surprised if Woody pulled the trigger on firing Glenn right now. I think they made all these trades to give these guys the opportunity to use these picks. If he shits the bed for a whole season next year and this year, Glenn, and they haven't made the big commitment on the quarterback, then yeah, I think you fire Glenn. I think depending on how Mujie has performed, you allow him to hire the next head coach. But I don't know. I'm hoping Glenn looks good by the end of the year and we're feeling confident and comfortable. Yeah, we'll see. Andrew in the chat. We heard it. Woody in the files. Yeah, I saw Woody's name pop up in there. We could only hope that we get a new owner. I don't think it's going to play out that way for us, though. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun. I've hit about the 2-hour mark, so I'm going to call it quits here. I'll be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock on the Talking Jets channel, talking some football with O'Leary and Green Bean. We got O'Leary's wedding coming up the end of this week. I'm super excited for that. But boys and girls, I will be. I'm gonna go take a nap. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.